I just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback of who we are. If any, if any of you guys out there don't know who we are, my name is Karen. Fly by the seat of my plants, Goforth. My husband and I have a boutique studio in Kannapolis, North Carolina, which is right outside of Charlotte. We've been in business. It'll be 22 years this January, so we've been around a long time. But we do a lot of pet portraiture, and so sometimes we do even, 3 or 4 pets in a week. So we're very pet friendly. We even bring our own pets to the studio. So what I was going to do today is maybe give you some tips, on photographing pets. Normally what we do is photograph a lot of dogs. We do cats. It's a little bit harder to photograph cats, but we do a lot of pets. And if any of you guys photograph pets, you know that they're just like people. They're just, if you have a pet owner, you know how much they love their pets and are crazy about them. So what I wanted to do is just maybe give you a few little tips about what the dog owners should know before they come in for photography. And it's definitely good to let the owner of the dog know that they should bathe their dog before they come, or their pet before they come. Normally a couple days before is good to have them groomed, and then that way, they don't have to do it the day of the photo session, and it's not as stressful on the owner too. But these are all things that you could, possibly talk with the pet owner or the client just so they know. And usually we do an actual consultation with the owner just like they would be coming in for, a regular family or child session. Because a lot of times if they've not photographed their pet professionally, then they really don't know. So another thing too is we always ask the dog owner or the pet owner if their pet has any fears, if they're afraid of sounds, if they're afraid of people. It's good to find out if the dog has been trained or not. Most dogs are not, and a lot of people think that their dogs are trained, but they're not. Another thing too, you want to get to know the personality of the dog before you even photograph. I keep saying dog because we do photograph a lot of dogs, but you might want to find out their personality. Are they an aggressive dog? Are they very shy? Do loud sounds scare them? Do people scare them? So it's really, you're getting to know the pet as much as you can before it comes in, so you could possibly, be aware of what it might take to get to have a better photo session with the pup. So those are all things that we like to try and find out before the actual session. Also, we never use an on-camera flash straight on. A lot of times it'll make the pet's eyes red. So we do a lot of available light photography in our studio, so we do a lot of that. But or we'll use strobes, and do several light setup with them. Or if we go outside, we definitely use on-camera flash or available light. So, but we never use an on-camera flash. And a lot of times the dog can get scared of that. Like I said, the dog's eyes may turn red if you have an on-camera flash. Alert ears are always a must, because if their ears are, not up and alert, then sometimes they look scared or a little spooky. But you can tell, and a lot of times the parents or the dog owner will say, she looks afraid, or she doesn't look happy, and being a pet owner myself, I can tell when my dog has certain, feelings or emotions or whatever. I know it's crazy. But so if you can get their ears up, that's a really good thing to do. And a lot of times, just a squeaky toy will work really good. Or, we can have somebody knock on a window or a wall behind me, and they'll just kind of perk up to see what that was. Something else too is you can, there's certain words that, dogs will respond to. Mom might say, do you want a cookie? Do you want a biscuit? Do you want to go out? Where's Susu or whatever? And sometimes the dogs will react and cock their head and look at you because they understand what you're saying. So it's good to find out if there's any key words that you can actually talk to the dog with, and that will make them pay attention to you or, put their ears up because they're interested in what you're saying. So that's, a couple ways that you can possibly get the ears to come up. There will be times when their tongue is hanging out, and, you can try and do all these different things, make noises and do things like that to make them, put their tongue in. Sometimes if it's just hot, you might take a water break or something like that. Or if you just have the owner, or maybe I usually work with an assistant, so I'll have my assistant just touch, the bottom of their tongue, and sometimes they'll put it in their mouth. At times, you just have to be right on and ready to push that shutter, if they put it in for just a second or two, and then they'll stick it back out. But, being very aware and being ready to push the button is key, too, with pet photography. But, and sometimes you're just going to have pets that just are like children, and they're just not going to cooperate, and you're just going to have to do everything you can, which patience is key. And a lot of times, the client or the pet owner is ready to give up, and I'm like, no, we're going to get this. And so a lot of times when we're photographing, if it's not going, as smoothly as we would want it to, then we just try any kind of different, something different. We grab another toy. We bring something, a pair, some keys. We turn on music, anything that might let them feel like we're doing something different, and like I said, sometimes you have to have the parents leave the room, just like when photographing children, and they do better. So that's just, you have to be very, very patient with when photographing pets. I did want to show you this. This is just a slide from a marketing program that I do, but I just wanted to show you this because what we're doing is we're displaying pet photography. So you can see above the fireplace, those are my two babies, and then over to the right is another photograph. So what we're really doing is planting seeds. So when they come into my studio, they're going to see, portraits of animals or pets or dogs or horses or what have you. They're going to see them on the wall hanging, and they're going to know right away that we do pet photography. And so it just plants a seed to, say, oh, I want to bring my dog in to have photographs done. And just them being able to visualize that and see that, it just plants a seed for them, which is great. So, and we include pets or dogs or, animals, just like we treat them the same way as we would treat your family members or your children or what have you. So that's just really important that if you want to do pet photography and you're not doing it now, to put some images up to display and let people know that that's something that you include in your photography. There's a couple different things that we do with our pet photography. Of course, we have regular portrait sessions in the studio, with a full session fee and, full price in our studio, just like we do any normal photography session. But we also do charitable pet programs. And what's great about these is, they're a lot of fun because I love pets. I mean, I'm a dog lover, and so that's one of my loves to photograph anyway. When we do a charitable pet program, it also puts us out in the community and lets people, see us and have some community outreach. And there are people that don't really care for pets, but I think that number is a very small percentage, and I think a lot of people, have a heart for pets and dogs. So it just lets people know that that's the kind of person you are and that you embrace these animals, because I know myself, you can mess with me, but if you mess with my dogs, it's over. So what we do with our charitable dog event or pet events is we usually have a Saturday, and sometimes we do it on a Sunday afternoon, but we'll schedule an all-day event, and the sessions will be 10 to 15-minute sessions. Mind you, it is hard sometimes to photograph pets in 10 to 15 minutes, but this is kind of, it's a one background thing. It's very short little mini session. It's not anything elaborate. So we can usually get, several good photographs in a 10-minute session, but it's not anything elaborate. So what we'll do is schedule those, and many times, to entice the folks to come to the charitable event, we'll give them a 5x7 free. And what they would do in return is they would bring a 10-pound bag of unopened dog food or cat food, or, sometimes they even bring blankets or toys or just anything that we can turn over to the Humane Society or the Pet Society that they can use to help with their programs with, adopting dogs, or it just depends on what association or, that you are, trying to help. But that usually works pretty good, and so what they'll do is we offer them the gift-size portrait, and you can do it a couple different ways. We've done it several different ways where they would look at their images online. We would photograph, tell them when they'll be ready, and they would go look at their images online, and they would pick their 5x7, and, absolutely they're available to purchase, any other photographs, because a lot of times I try and do a little bit of variety, everything I can in a 10 to 15-minute session, but, I want to sell portraits also. So you can have them go online and choose and, offer them packages, or you can, it depends on the actual portrait fundraiser you're doing. If you're working with an upscale fundraising event where there's, higher end, people that you might want to have them come into the studio and offer them a regular portrait session and a regular viewing. But if you feel like it's, a lower end opportunity, then you might want to put them online and let them choose packages and have packages available for them to choose. So it depends on the feel of the clients that are coming in. It depends where you're doing it. If it's at, a really upscale pet boutique, then you might want to consider, having them come into the studio and picking the 5x7 and then offering, all kinds of different items. We usually have them come 2 weeks later, and we can either offer print packages, like I was saying, or wall portraits. They will buy anything, pet stationery, jewelry, purses, and what's great about H&H is they have all these different items that are available. And so we treat this just like we would our regular clients or our dance studios or anything else. We offer them any kind of item that we can. And it works out really good because these folks love their pets, and they love an iPad cover with their pet on it. They love a piece of jewelry with their pet. So don't ever think that, you're just going to offer, print packages. We offer the whole gamut, and we just decide that depending on the actual event that we're doing. So don't sell yourself short and offer all those H&H items that they have, because they have so many that it can really add to your bottom line. One thing you might want to do, like we'll call a couple days in advance before the actual charity event, or, wherever we're photographing, we'll call the folks and remind them of their portrait session. And we will also, find out a little bit about the dog. Did they play well with others? Are they aggressive? If they are, then you might want to, keep Fido in the car, until we're ready, or you might want to keep him outside until we're ready for his actual session, because you just have to monitor, having dogs together in the same room while they're waiting to be photographed. So that's one thing, you might want to do with the sessions being so short too, you might have several dogs in the waiting area waiting to be photographed all at one time. People come early, people come right on their scheduled time, people come late, so it's good to know, to let the owner know, if you have a very aggressive dog or they don't like other dogs, you might want to, let them know you're here and then go back outside, and then we'll bring your pet in when it's time for their appointment. So just little tidbits that I've learned the hard way, that you can do to help make the process go a little bit smoother. And I'm going to reiterate on this and tell you again that there are so many pet owners that I know that are just absolutely nuts over their pets. And I know a few that love their pets more than they love their children at times, so don't ever underestimate the buying ability or what you could possibly sell to any of these pet owners, because we have made huge, phenomenal sales just on pet portraiture. So just keep that in mind as you think about whether you're going to do pet photography or whether you want to maybe go after it a little bit more, because it's really an untouched market. Sometimes there's a lot of people that don't want to do pet photography, so just throwing that out there. Of course, the benefits, I think, to doing any of the fundraising events that we do, it gives you a lot of exposure. And, of course, it helps these little furry people, friends. It helps the Humane Society or, any of those places that are nonprofit and run just on people donating. So, and it makes, a supportive relationship between you and the foundation that you're helping. You can also go as far as, contacting the media and letting them know what you're doing, maybe a couple weeks in advance, and seeing if you can get any kind of media exposure, whether it's on the radio station or whether it's on the television station on their website, or they might, we've done a couple segments where at noon they have like a 2-minute session at noon and they talk about people that are doing charities or, things like that. So, it doesn't hurt to ask, but I would definitely pursue it. It only helps you get your name out, maybe get more clients to come in, and just be able to make your, your charity event or your a little more profitable and maybe a little more have it go a little bit better. It also really creates a lot of buzz in the pet community. And one great thing, too, is once you connect, whether it's a grooming shop or whether it's a veterinary clinic or just maybe it's a pet boutique where they just sell all these special boutique items for pets, clothing and such, it puts you out there in the pet community. And so when maybe someone comes in to their place of business and they talk about, well, I need to get my pet photographed, they can throw your name out there. So you're getting to know them, and they're, you're helping them and they're helping you. So, and a lot of times it's an awesome thing just to maybe hang a portrait or two, or maybe put a little flyer out, in these places. We have found when we've done pet sessions here at the studio, just like little minis or a special event that we've actually done in our studio, we've said, pet portraiture the whole month of September, we're having a special. If you bring in 10 pounds of dog food or what have you, that it works. But when we called them the other children, it seemed like we got a whole lot more response. So it's kind of crazy, but just instead of just saying pet photography, we found that when we called them the other children or referred to them as their children, that it really, it's kind of crazy, but it made a difference in the response that we got. This is one of our special pet portrait sessions that we did at the studio, and we did it on Sunday, December 4th, and all the benefits went to the Humane Society of Concord in the greater Cabarrus County. So we charged them $20 session fee and a 30-minute session, and then we gave them 20% off their order. So on this event, we did not give them a free 5x7, and we gave them a 30-minute session so we could actually do a little bit more variety. It was more than just, a 5x7 and, that kind of thing. So, and they appreciated the 20% off their order. And these are our regular prices in the studio. And here at our studio, we are a la carte, except for our seniors and a couple little 20-minute mini sessions that we do. But otherwise, everything's a la carte, so they can put their own package together, and then we gave them 20% off their order. So, and that goes pretty good. This is another fundraiser that we did, and I think this year will be our 6th annual fundraiser for the Wings of Eagles Ranch and Therapeutic Riding Center. What we do for this promotion is they give us a $50 donation, and it's a 15-minute session fee, but it's actually out at the farm. They let us use their horses if we wish to, and they have wagons and such. But they give us a $50 donation, and then the client would get an 8x10 portrait. So generally speaking, we usually turn over about $900 to the Wings of Eagles Ranch for their initial donation of the $50. You could, if you wanted to cover a little bit of your of printing the 8x10 and maybe covering your help or paying yourself, you could give them $40 and keep $10 for yourself. That's just an option. We usually just give them the whole $50 just because years past we've done really well with this fundraiser. So basically what we do, they're 15-minute sessions out at the ranch, and they have different horses that they let us use also, but we know now after, 5 years of doing this event that it's best to schedule those folks to come back into our studio. And we usually give them 25% off our regular a la carte sessions. And so I think we usually range anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 in extra sales in addition to the free 8x10s that they get. And then we do try and give 10% of all the sales back to the ranch also. So it's worked out really good for us, and now people look for us every year to do this, so they know we're coming, and so they participate. And it's really good. I'm going to go back to that slide. We also, when we talk to Wings of Eagles, the lady that owns it, Kristen, we give her an ad similar to this, and she will put it in an email blast out to all her clientele or any of her people that work, to any of the horse ranches around her. She knows a lot of folks. So in addition to us advertising for this fundraiser, Kristen will also help us advertise as well. So we usually fill up an entire day of 15-minute sessions from like 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock or 5:30. Usually in November, it's getting dark earlier, the time change comes. So, we usually do anywhere, 15 or so sessions. So it could actually be a great money maker for your studio, and then here you are helping out, supporting your foundation that you're trying to raise money for. So it's kind of a win-win, and we've got a great relationship with them now, so people just know who we are, which is, just great exposure. Now we do regular, sessions. We started doing that a couple years ago, opposed to just the regular full session. We do 30-minute portrait sessions, and we charge a little bit less of a session fee, but whenever we do any kind of ads and we're advertising, no matter what we're advertising, we try and add a pet in our advertisement, just, planting that seed and letting people know that they can bring their pet. And, you're really doing them a favor by photographing their pet, because, sometimes people don't realize, that they can do that, and then something happens to their pet and they don't have a nice photograph of their part of their family. So we just try and put that out there whenever, even if it's for a family session or something like that, we always include the pets, always. And once again, we did this fundraiser for our foundation, which is called Focused on a Cure, and we gave them an opportunity to come and make a donation, and they would receive a 5x7 portrait and a Facebook profile image, and that went to our foundation. But you can see again where we have included the pets. And we just always try and do that because we want to make sure people know that their pups and their and their pets are included. And sometimes we'll have a pet owner, bring just their pets and not their children, or that is their children, and we just pick up another couple sessions that way. This is once again another ad that we ran, and there was a clothing store in our mall called Strasburg, and at that time, we were advertising for our business, of course, but we were, I decided to put my children on the advertisement. So this is just something we did. If a client went into the store and they said Merry Christmas from IP, then the clerk in the store would give them a $75 IP gift card to use on any new orders in the new year. So that worked out really well, but of course I had to put my beautiful babies on there. But that's just, once again, showing that we're using, pets to kind of advertise our business also. This is another ad that we did. We did this this past August, I think. And we, put on our advertisement that we can photograph here in the studio, we can photograph at your home, but we had 2 of the local veterinarians in our town. Once we photographed all through August, we took all the clients that took advantage of that portrait session in August, and we showed them, to the veterinarian, and he actually chose his favorite photograph. And what we did was we got a $100 PetSmart card, and we gave that to the winner, whoever the veterinarian had chosen as their favorite photo. So, and that was just another little extra something that we gave to the client, just to kind of entice them a little bit, because of course our pets are the cutest. So. We also did this not last Christmas, I think this was the Christmas before, and we had just, bring your pet for Christmas photos. Not necessarily, you could do Christmas cards, you could do packages, you can do it a couple different ways, but we actually invited folks to bring their pets and take advantage of our Christmas set. So there's just all kinds of ideas that you can use with pet photography. We just kind of pretend like they're real people and include them in everything. And I think that was the end of it. One thing I did want to tell you is when we're doing our pet promotions, we will put it out on Facebook. We'll put it on our website, in our calendar. We'll put it in the boutique stores or the veterinary clinic. We usually try and put it out there as many different places as we can. So we're using as much social media as we can. And sometimes we'll do a promotion and it may not go as well as we wanted it to. And then the next time we'll do the very same promotion, different time of year or whatever, and it'll go really good. So if you try something and it's not spectacular the very first time you do it, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but it's just timing or, what's going on, in the world at that time. But it's just something that even though you try it once, if it doesn't, if you only get 4 or 5 people and you wanted 20, that doesn't mean that not to try it again, because I've seen that happen myself. We did have one year with the Wings of Eagles Ranch that, for 2 years it went really well, and then one year we only had half the clients that we usually have. And, it was a rainy day, and it was just, maybe we didn't advertise as much as we should have. So what we try and do is just put it everywhere. And we don't just put it on Facebook one time. We might put it on Facebook and let folks know about it, and then maybe a week later we might create a completely different ad and put it on Facebook again. So that's just something that, that I wanted to put out there. We do an email blast once a month. So we will, when September comes out, if we're doing a pet promotion in September, we'll put that out in the email blast. And then, of course, anybody that comes in the studio, we have a small little flyer promoting that also. I mean, they may be picking up reprints from a 2-year portrait or a family or what have you, and then there it is at the front desk when they're checking out advertising this. So we just try and advertise as much as we can, whenever we can, over and over. So if you put something out there one time, I think it's best to continue to advertise it over and over.